And yes, it's time for us to go through the front pages of the newspaper. And of course, I'm not doing this alone. I'll be doing it with Mike. Hello, Mike.
Do it alone now.
How are you doing?
Good.
All right, shall we begin? We'll start up with the Vanguard newspaper. And making the headlines here, would just... So yes, still on the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. It says here, projects not okayed by National Assembly. Procurement for probe, says reps. On the riders here, it says, asks ministers of Works, Finance, Justice, AGF to send all guarantees, credit enhancement instruments to National Assembly. Says projects didn't get National Assembly approval. And I would just write here at the top of the paper, Senate okays death penalty for manufacturers of dangerous drugs. And you can find more of that story on page 6. Also on the top of the paper here, cash transfer scheme raised household savings, but had little other impacts. Excuse me, says World Bank. And deporting 317 Osun Indigenes from Lagos illegal, says Falana. Just right here at the bottom of the paper, Senate reps disagree on implementation of cybersecurity levy. And that's all we can take on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Mike?
All right, the Nation Rivers House reaffirms legitimacy as Fubara backs 3 loyal lawmakers. Sirikan orders get 100 million naira bail. Chibok girl back with 3 kids after 10 years. Senate and House defer on cyber levy. The headline under the flag there, NLC justifies 615,000 naira demand. And of course, yeah, that's just it. That's basically all what we have on the front page of the Nation.
Okay, so let's move on to the Punch newspaper. Making the headlines here, still on the Coastal Highway probe. Reps to summon Edun Umahi AGF. On the riders here, Works Ministry Defense Project. House panel gets 4 weeks to complete probe. And right here at the corner of the papers, Senate okays death penalty for drug traffickers. Wow. You can find more of that story on page 34. And first quarter foreign debt servicing gulped $1 billion, says CBN. And at the bottom of the paper, Rivers crisis, Fulbara lawmakers lock horns again. And much sorrow as under-17 hero Babangida is buried. Pretty sad story there. And businessman Lagos police bicker over 70,000 naira extortion allegation. And at the top of the paper, government under pressure to stop cybersecurity levy. More of that story on page 41. And 2.7 billion naira fraud. Court imposes travel ban on Sirika and daughter. And finally, abduction. Citizens slam IGP for detaining journalists beyond 48 hours. And that's it on the cover of the Punch newspaper.
Then over to The Guardian. Caveat emptor. This is a big stories, page 4 and 5. How real estate firms and agencies fleece prospective property buyers and tenants. We're speaking about this some few days back, and I spoke about my skepticism when it comes to buying landed property and all of that. So this should probably be a good read for you if you have ever thought or if you have invested in real estate. One reportedly killed and several injured in fresh Okwama violence. And House of Reps directs CBN to halt implementation of 0.5 levy on e-transactions. Kaduna to relocate 359 schools over insecurity. 45-year-old cleric defiles 3 minors in Kwara and blames the devil. The IMF projects 24% inflation rate for Nigeria by year end. Senate okays death sentence for makers of illicit drugs. And we can see some sort of a pictogram here. Transactions exempted from cybersecurity levy. So amongst these transactions include loan disbursements and repayments, other financial institutions, instructions to their correspondent bank.
Also salary payments as well.
Salary, no,
Salary
okay.
payments as well.
Interbank placements, banks transfers to CBN and vice versa.
Inter-branch transfers.
Inter-branch transfers, okay. Intra-account transfers within the same bank.
Within the same bank. Yeah.
Or between different banks for the same customer.
Yeah.
So that means that your BVN would be the factor that puts all of that together. And here we have education institutions transactions, including tuition payments and other transactions involving schools, universities, or other educational institutions. Oh, it's just all of that being listed out here on the front page of The Guardian.
Okay, so let's quickly take one more paper before we wrap this up. The Daily Independent newspaper. Still making the headlines here. We have Senate okays death penalty for drug traffickers orders. And at the corner of the paper here, we have why I paid surprise visits to Rivers Assembly quarters by Fubara. And SEC rolls out new rules on issuance allotment of private companies' securities, unapproved issuance of securities to attract 10 million naira penalty. And here, telecoms sector contribution to GDP hits 13.5%, raked in 33 trillion naira in 2023. And at the bottom of the paper here, still on cybersecurity, Senate reps disagree on new 0.5% cybersecurity levy. And here we have GTCO shareholders okays $750 million capital raising, 94.179 billion naira dividend. And IGP charges police legal officers to protect citizens' rights due process. And finally, Tinubu appoints Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ekpo, as co-chair NCDMB. And should I take one more story, or should we give it a wrap on the papers? Okay, so we'll take one more story making the headlines here.
No, I don't think we have time. We just have to wrap up.
So we'll just have to wrap it up.
No.
And that's all we can take on the front pages this morning. The show continues shortly. Stay with us.